Hello and welcome to another episode of Eat Smoke Drink. A special episode of Eat Smoke Drink today. I mean, this just gets crazier and crazier, the kind of whiskies we end up trying on here. But first and foremost, I want to thank my friend Tara for letting us try this particular whiskey. It was actually purchased from an auction, and God knows where they got it from, but it was purchased from an auction. You're probably wondering from the intro and the picture on YouTube, what the hell is this whiskey? So this whiskey is estimated to be at least 100 years old. That's not exaggerating. This whiskey is estimated to be at least 100 years old. That's how screwed up is that. The cap is not even a cork, it's like a tin with a little switch. You can tell by the by the labels has been disintegrated over time. You can tell by the label it's become like pirate-like, like a pirate map. It's absolutely crazy. It's called the finest old liqueur whiskey. They say liqueur, there's a lot of reasoning, we don't really know why. I've asked so many people, I've tried Googling it, but they say liqueur whiskey, I think to try and get out of taxation. That's apparently what it is. It's speculation, but we don't know. Not like John Dewards Sons will have records all that time that's lived that long to tell the tale. But there's no percentage of alcohol in there as well. So it is a John Dewards Son. They're still around, but it is extremely old whiskey. This is not even about tasting it, whether you can buy it again or it's worth buying again or not. That's beyond the point. This is purely an experience, a novelty. The fact that you can try a bottle from 100 years ago, I mean, that's just insanity. So looking at the whiskey itself, it's a really strange green tinge. It's a really strange color. Looking at the whiskey itself, it's a really strange color. I mean, like no other whiskey I've ever seen before, and I'll explain why that is. Now, this whiskey has probably been matured in a bourbon barrel like most whiskeys have, and who knows what they did 100 years ago, but this is a snapshot in history. This is a snapshot in distilling history on how they distilled whiskey and how they made it into flavor profiles. But I will tell you right now that a bottle like this will have what we call OBE, old bottle effect. So you probably heard the anecdote that glass is actually liquid, over time it'll sag. Well, you imagine putting a high alcohol percentage beverage in a bottle, leaving it in the bottle for about 100 years. You go figure what'll happen. And so I'm speculating that that greenish weird tinge is actually glass. I hope there's no lead in there. So there probably is. I'm gonna do it anyway. So when you look at it, it's probably part of that glass that's dissolved into the whiskey itself. But look, I'm gonna nose it and see what happens. Already I can tell that the alcohol level of this whiskey is not as high as your normal whiskey. You can tell by the sides and the formation of legs there. But in terms of smell, let's start nosing. I'm not going to add water because there's no need to. This is pure experiential. I'm going to start nosing. Yeah, and it's really strange because back then obviously the labeling requirements were very different to now. There's not really any information about it. There's nothing. It just says, distilled in Scotland and bottled in the United Kingdom under government supervision. It tells you the name of it, the company, old liqueur. It doesn't really have much. It's got like a serial number on the side, but it doesn't really have much else. Oh, the nose is really weird. It's really funky. I mean, I'm getting a hint of, when you have a kerosene lamp, that soot that comes off the kerosene lamp. I'm getting heavy soot out of this. And when I spoke to people about it, they gave me a theory why soot's so heavy in it, and I'll tell you. But strangely enough, it's extremely heavy in mineral. It's so heavy in mineral, it's not even funny. I mean, when you've got glass, heavy glass in the like, you know, in a fire, or, you know, just heated glass, you can smell that glass. Definitely the old bottle effect is strong in this one. You can definitely smell that old bottle effect, the oiliness, the wax, it's just you're just getting all of that in. But the predominant theme that I'm getting is candle wax, smoke, and soot. So I'm presuming that this was made to be a slightly smoker whiskey. But why is it very sooty? So the theory that I've been given is maybe instead of using peat, they use coal to dry the malt, to roast the malt and halt its malting. Or maybe they're distilled with coal. All of the above could contribute to that. So I'm getting the heavy soot, candle wax, literally like a candle burning. You can just smell that candle burning. Imagine having 10 candles around you. I get that. And like I said, this is not about tasting it to see what it's like if you can buy it again. This is more of an experience thing. I mean, I have never had a whiskey that's 100 years old, so let's try it and see what it's like. It is definitely very, very low alcohol. I mean, that is very low alcohol. I mean, I'm thinking maybe it's probably 35, sub 40%, but 40 at most. I don't know what the regulations are, but there's not much alcohol taste in that at all. And I'm definitely tasting that mineral. That mineral taste is so strong, that old bottle effect. So, yeah, I mean, I'm getting soot. I'm getting a slight saltiness, meatiness, some bacon. The bacon is probably from the soot, maybe, you know, it's coming from that. But it's a very weak whiskey now, but the taste is so bizarre. It's such a bizarre taste. I mean, I can't really put my hand on what that taste is. It's dirty, it's smoky, it's sooty, and I can taste that mineral from the glass that I don't even know how to describe. I don't eat glass, so I don't know, but it smells like hot glass, you know. And you know, when you put a bottle into the bonfire, and yes, we've all done that, let's face it, and then you smell that glass burning in the bonfire. That's what I'm smelling. It is just absolutely, what an experience it is to try this whiskey. I mean, look, I'm speechless. I'm speechless. And if anyone knows information about this particular whiskey, I'm really keen to know more about it. I don't know anything about it, really. We don't know anything. We've been tried Googling. There's just nothing on it. There's no label. There's nothing to say anything about it. So look, thank you very much for joining me today. I mean, I don't know what else to say. It's this bottle. It's a very the taste is quite flat. It is quite flat because it's been a long time in there. I mean, obviously this is not 100% airtight. So over decades and decades, a bloody century, that would have air would have swapped in and out for contraction and expansion. So it's quite flat, but the experience is nothing like I've ever had before. 100 years old plus in a bottle. There we go. I mean, and that's crazy. That's absolutely crazy. Thank you very much for joining me, and please don't forget to hit subscribe, and I hope that one day I can come across another bottle like this and review it. Thank you. Cheers.